You're listening to Chaotically Disciplined with your host Shannon and Zaida, two goofy real life rave moms where we chat about fitness, parenthood, and our love of music festivals.
We'll show you that you can have mid time management skills, occasional meltdowns, and be disorganized as fuck, but still always get shit done.
Welcome back to our podcast. Good morning, Shannon. How are you feeling today?
Hello, hello. I'm tired. I'm tired, but nothing, 200 milligrams of caffeine can't help me with. So
True.
yeah,
Yeah, we both. I see we both have our merch on today.
we do. We're representing the merch that we've created. We'll drop a link in the description if anybody wants to get their melodic as fuck shirt or their certified rave milf shirt.
Yes.
I wore this to Breakaway this year and you saw it, it was such a simple outfit, like
Mm-hmm.
fishnets, combat boots, like a, little black thong and this shirt. And I got more compliments on it than it was so basic. It was such a basic outfit, but because of the shirt, I guess, I don't know, sometimes basic works.
It's not basic. Let me be clear. It's clever. Clever. I love it. I know what you're saying though. It's not this like over the top thing, but
Yeah,
no, it's
it
dope.
was so easy. It was such an easy outfit that I was like, and then I wore, because this is also available in white, so I wore the white version to EDC Las Vegas with like these black mesh joggers.
Well,
And
that was
same thing,
cute.
I was like, it was like a last minute thrown together outfit for Sunday because we weren't even sure if we were going that day. And it was probably my favorite thing I wore. It was so comfy and it
Very
looked
sporty
cute.
spice.
Yeah, like, yes, exactly, like, it was just my vibe, I guess, and, like, when you're wearing something that and I always dress, like, I don't ever wear anything I'm uncomfortable in to a rave, like, it's always some sort of vibe, and I kinda try to rotate between different personality traits I have, but,
Definitely.
like, that one was just so it was so, like, comfy, but I still felt cute, and I don't know.
It was
It's
on
sort
brand.
of like the same thing with everything else we talk about, like, basic the tried and true stuff, it works for a reason, like, you don't always have to make things complicated, and that includes, like, rave outfits.
It's very true. This
Yeah,
shirt
so
is funny because people don't expect it because they see the sound wave and then it's like melodic as fuck.
I've
It's
I've
very
I
quiet.
love it, I love it, that too, when I've worn it out, people are like, "What?" I wanna wear that. I should actually get because I like the idea, like, a really big oversized shirt with, like, fishnets. Probably, like, something cute under it, so, like, if I wanna, like, tuck in the back, like, my ass will be showing.
Hey,
You know,
surprise.
I gotta, like, yeah, be able to spice it up if I want to, but just the comfy but, like, sexy look, I think
Yes.
that would be I wanna get that one in a bigger size because right now I have it, like, fitted like you.
Yes.
That would be cute to do it in a bigger size and do the same thing, so maybe I'll do that.
Well, that's what I ended up doing for Elements, where I had like a full fishnet suit and a little bikini underneath. And then I had a big t-shirt to go over it because I was like, okay, I have this like protective layer, but then when I'm ready to unleash, ha, like it was a nice duality to have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Alright, well, here we go. We're
We're
already,
gonna
like,
get started.
chatting
So
about,
today,
nonsense, so let's go ahead and
yes.
intro the episode.
So today's topic, we're going to be talking about the journey of motherhood and how we continue to, you know, have goals related to fitness and how we integrate that into our weekly, daily lives. So it's an interesting topic because it is just a day-to-day experience. Like you can have your plan of what you want to do for a lift and how you want to address your workouts. Obviously, life is chaotic in general. This could happen to anybody, but with motherhood specifically, you just never know when the hell you're going to have the time or the energy because you could have a really shitty night of sleep and that just X-nays the plan and you have to come up with something else. And that is a tricky mindset to get through because, you know, you just don't feel 100% like you used to, where you can go to the gym and be like, oh, I'm feeling great. Can't wait to work out for an hour and a half to two. And now it's like, 30 minutes in, I only have 10 minutes left. Gotta go.
It's really like that. No, yes, definitely wanna cover that. This was parenting affects, and the mentality you have as a parent can affect, having guilt when you go to, like, a festival or, like, you have this passion that you wanna continue to keep up with, and obviously it changes once you become a parent, but you shouldn't feel bad about that, and how raving affects both parenting and your fitness and how these things actually you shouldn't feel like need to choose one or the other. They actually can enhance each other. It's just about like finding that balance that works for you. So with this episode, we that same kind of like all of those same struggles and issues and that balance with parenthood and fitness, like it's very similar. We didn't get to explore that topic yet. So that's kind of the basis of this episode is that same stuff pops up with going after a fitness goals or having your fitness routines as a parent. You know, I train people who have guilt, for setting time aside to train, or they get frustrated when that plan gets thrown off by not it's not like they're resenting or having an issue with their children. It's just very frustrating when you're trying to have a plan and stick to that plan and you can't because your kid gets sick or your kid keeps you up all night. And so then you're exhausted the next day. So you're not recovering. And like all of these things, right? When you have a family are it's one thing when you're single. I'm not saying that people who are single or even if they're not single but they don't have children, it's not that they don't have struggles with like nutrition or sleep or all of these things. It's just different. Like when you're a parent, maybe you have a goal and you're gonna, be more dialed into what you're eating, but that doesn't mean you expect your whole entire family to be following that same plan.
Right.
That's really difficult to stick to nutrition when you are trying to do, like, a specific thing and make food for yourself or track your food or weigh and measure it, and you're making dinner for everybody else. You know what I mean? Like, there's all these compounded things with all of the fitness stuff that you do that
Mhm.
and all these extra variables with all these extra people in your life that you're responsible for that you don't have any control over. So they can disrupt it. So then what do you do? Like, how do you go move forward and see progress towards the goal that you have, for one? And then how do you prioritize that and let go of the guilt and feel like you're not putting enough effort into your family? It's a struggle. Sure, that takes time.
Agree.
So
Even
yeah,
the
that's
time
kind of
of day. Time of day can mess me up too because I
mhm,
prefer to work out at a certain time. Like I'm a morning early bird with the workouts. And if I can't do that and that's disrupted, it can be harder for me to like squeeze it into the middle of the day or at nighttime. It's like, oh, but sometimes I have to be like, you know what, screw it. Like it's 45 minutes of the day. The hubby's home. There's no reason why I can't go and do this. It's not my preference, but
mhm,
it is what it is today, you
mhm.
know?
Yep, yep. That's exactly again, when I had just myself to worry about, if something gets thrown off, like the pivoting tends to be easier. You can find the time, but you learn really how to if you have to do like bare bones the workout or condense it, and you have to be okay with that. It's still better than nothing. So it really does change your mentality on a lot of things when you have a fitness goal and you're also a parent because there is a tendency, I mean, we're all human, to get frustrated when you can't do the plan. So sometimes you choose, you're like, I'm not doing anything. If I can't do it the way I want, I'm not even gonna go. Like I'm tired, so I know if I go to the gym, I'm not even gonna get the lifts in that I want to. I'm not gonna PR anything because I'm exhausted. Or shit, this came up and now I only have 45 minutes to work out when I really need an hour, hour and a half. So what's the point? I'm just not going to go. And
Right.
so you can do that, but that's not going to get you anywhere.
Mhm.
And we all have those days. Like sometimes that is the choice that I make where like if it's not going to go my way, then I will throw a little hissy fit and not do it. But that's not common because over time, the more that you the longer you're a parent, you're like, "Well, you learn, like, this is not gonna get me anywhere," and that's a bad attitude to have, like, at least do something. So you learn how to streamline that and work with what you've got. You learn how to pivot the plan and still see progress and accept that maybe it will be slower for you, but that's okay. You're still doing something t for yourself that you set out to do.
And adjusting the workout, like, the way I've seen you do it before where you, like, pick 3 out of the 5 exercises that you would have done and just, like, maybe go a little heavier or something like that, you know? Even if you can't go heavier, but it's a great way to, like, condense the workout, and I've had to do it sometimes where, say I have a couple of body weight workouts that are at the very end, like, just to get a glute burn or something like that, or I have the dumbbells and the weight at home. I'll do those first in the day to at least get some movement in and then figure a way to get to the gym. Or
Mhm,
bring my son with me for just a little bit of time because he can tolerate being there for
mhm.
20 minutes, but I have to split it up. Like it's inconvenient and definitely different, but you still end up doing it, right? So
Yeah,
you feel the
yeah,
benefit at the end. It's just like you have to be flexible. So then you can still, get that time in for yourself. And it is easy to say in the moment, like, screw it, I'm just not going to do it at all. But honestly, that's usually most of the time not the good answer for yourself unless you are feeling really unwell, you know?
yeah, yeah. No, that it definitely teaches you how to, and this is coming from 2 people who are horrible at time management for the most part, like, both procrastinators. Maybe I don't know if you're as much of a procrastinator as I am, but, I am a lifelong procrastinator. I work really well on a time crunch. If you want something done for me, don't say, like, "Whenever you can get to it." You need to give me a deadline. Coming from someone who's not great at time management, I'm always trying to get better at it, but I'm not great at it at all.
Mid time management skills. We
Good
said it
time
for
management skills, it's in the description. But when you become a parent, you learn you learn how to prioritize things and that you can get more done than you think. So when I have clients who tell me, who don't have children, who tell me they don't have time, I'm like, okay. I know that when I didn't have children, I didn't think I had time either. Like I can remember what that felt like. But then you start adding things on your plate and you remember, or you figure out how to make that work. So the bottom line is and I'm not saying that you can't arrive at this, like, understanding without being a parent. You definitely can, but for me, and for I think most parents, that definitely expedites the process in a different way. If it is a priority to you, you will make time for it. You will figure it out.
you.
It Sometimes as a parent, even if it's a priority to you, you have to shuffle the priorities because something with the kids or your family or whatever has to come first. So that thing on your priority list gets bumped down. So if I was planning to work out at 11 o'clock, which, that's kind of like my favorite time to work out of the
The
day.
golden hour. It's a really nice time to go to the
Yeah.
gym.
Like if I could pick any time of the day, it would be like 11 o'clock to work out. And then I get a call from the school that my kid is sick and I have to go pick him up. Like, the workout is not the priority anymore. It was, I set aside time for it, but it can't be it can't be the priority. So I go pick up my kid. But if I'm very determined to get that workout in that day and not willing to sacrifice that, I will figure out where else it can go. And if that means shortening it, I'll shorten it. That's the kind of stuff that happens. So it teaches you, rather than just being like, I don't have the time to do that. If you want to do it, you will figure out that time, and nothing will teach you how to do that more than being a parent. And maybe you don't have time. Maybe you really don't have time. Like maybe work is overloading you. People have valid reasons why they can't fit exercise in, like, for in certain periods of their life. We all have times. Like right now I'm in a time of my life where, like, I really can't lift more than 3 days a week.
Mhm.
It's cool if I can get the 4th day in, but 3 is about all I can manage. I'm okay with that. 3 times a week is all I have time for. So I've become fine with that. Like ideally I would wanna train more, but I've become fine with that. But it's still a priority. I still make sure it's a priority, but the amount of time I can devote to it has become less. But my point with that is like, I could make the excuse of, going back to what we said earlier, I don't have time to do it the way I want, so I'm not doing it at all. Or any of those things, like that mentality of, if I don't get my way with, like, the plan that I originally had executed, or like the ideal plan, then I'm just not gonna do it. I don't have enough time. I'm too busy. Like, this is a thing that's gonna get chopped because it's still taking time away from other things I could do. That goes into the guilt part that we'll talk about later. Is it feels selfish to go do this thing when especially when you're super busy as a parent and you have a million things to do. You have work, you have kids stuff, you have house stuff, you have all of these responsibilities. And then you're trying to fit in an hour at the gym because you have whatever goal it is. It could be like just an aesthetic goal, it could be other health related goal. Like, it's still, even though that those are things that you should be having in your life, it feels selfish when you have all this other stuff going on. So it's
It
hard to
takes away
prioritize.
family time,
Yeah, it
also
takes away
potentially.
family time. That's very, very hard to come by, especially as your kids get older. So it feels selfish to do that. And it is selfish, but it's the selfish that you need to have. Um, so it's very easy to kind of brush it off as a parent and put yourself very low on the priority list so it doesn't get done. And then that comes out as I just don't have time. I don't have time to work out. My kids, I have somebody has practice every day. I work X amount of hours, da 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 da. Maybe you don't have time, but what you actually have to say, because this is what is true, is it's not a priority to me right now. It's not a priority. It can't be a priority to me right now. That's the truth. No matter what the reason is, the truth is that it's not a priority to you. Because if it was a priority to you, you would figure out how to fit it in. Even if it was a small amount, you would figure out how to sprinkle that in. Whatever it
Mhm.
is. Right now we're talking about fitness, but that's anything that you like really want to accomplish that you're making an excuse for not having time for. If it's a priority to you, you will figure it out, even if it looks differently than you would ideally want. So that sounds really harsh, but it's the truth. And that's okay if it's the truth. If it's the truth that you're like, I really can't make going all in on this fitness routine a priority to myself right now. And there are times in your life where that's the truth. My life right now, the truth is I do not have time to lift 5 days a week. I don't have time for that right now. So it can't be a priority. I have to be okay with that. And I am okay with that. So I've figured out how to pivot and now I lift 3 days a week. And if I have the time to prioritize a fourth, then I do. But
But it's
you
not
have
all or nothing, and it
that
is.
whole I don't have time is an excuse, and you will continue to never find the time if you're not truthful with yourself.
Yeah, I think part of it though is like needing to take that moment to say, okay, if I look at the amount of, because the phones tell you how much screen time you spend now. So that is like one of, and I'm not saying like don't go on your phone, you're not doing anything because it's enjoyable, you're communicating with people, blah, blah, blah. But likely the number of minutes that you spent just on Instagram or some form of something on the phone,
Mhm.
that was your time that you
Yeah,
actually do have,
yeah,
but you have to check in with that because it's so
and that's
automatic.
okay. No, I'm not gonna tell somebody, "You should have not been on Instagram so long and you could have worked out." Like, if that's how you decompress by watching Netflix or being on Instagram for hours of the day, like, I'm not judging that decision. By all means, do that, but that's what I'm saying. Don't tell yourself you don't have time.
Because that was your time. You
That
used it
was your
for
time. The
something else.
priority that was your priority. That's what you chose with to do with your extra time was that. And if you're okay with that, then cool, but don't give yourself or anybody else the excuse that you don't have time because you do. That's just a priority over going to the gym or meal prepping or whatever it is that you could be doing to get yourself further, you're choosing not to because you would rather do that. And that's fine, but be honest with yourself about that if that's what it is. Don't lie to yourself because you're never going to fix it if that's something you want to fix. If you can't like that's how you find little pockets of time. And that's how I feel like motherhood has helped me be a better coach is I don't co I coach people who are parents, but a lot of people that I coach are not, and so when someone tells me they don't have time, I'm really good at being like, "Okay, well, can you give me your daily schedule? Like, let's figure this out," and brain like, I'm not an ass about it, but
Well, yeah.
in my brain, I'm like, "You have time.
You're
Let me
like,
know
I
what
know.
does your day look like? Let's figure out how we can fit something in there. It doesn't have to be an hour-long workout. Let's figure out the path of least resistance, like, yes, you're gonna have to plan for this, and it's gonna be a little, inconvenient at times, but I don't want to give somebody who really doesn't have time for 5-hour-long workouts a week that kind of training split. I'm not gonna do that. I wanna know how busy are you? Yes, you'll have to plan for this, but let's not make it outrageous when you really don't have time for that. If you only have time for 3, like, 20-minute workouts a week, then let's start there, and you have to figure out how to manage that in, but you can. Let's to go over your day and see what will you have to adjust that will be the least painful for you to figure out how to work into your routine and your schedule.
True.
But you have the time if you wanna make the time. You do. And I feel like parenting has helped me figure that out for myself, but then as a coach with other people who maybe haven't been able to take a step back like that and look at it like, yeah, you're right. Like I'm not being really honest with like how I could work this in if I really wanted it that bad.
I definitely agree with what you're saying, like and it's a balance too. You could split, say, that 30 minutes that you're spending on your phone, um, and obviously you can go on your phone and have intention of what you're doing is meaningful, right? I'm just
Mhm.
saying that when you have those, like, minutes of spare time that are kinda aimless, for me, that's where I've discovered I waste so much time, like, it's just aimless searching and looking for whatever reason. That time is nice and enjoyable, for me, but if because fitness is a priority, because my emotional health depends on that personally, and I'm
Mhm.
sure for many people, um, that's why I decide, like, you know what, fitness first or workout first, and then that'll come later.
Yeah.
Um, and it takes time to get to that point where you're able to kind of cut yourself off and be like, and procrastinate your workout. I've done that forever, and you just, like, push it to the end and push it to the end, but it's like, "No, I'm going because the choice is the same. It's inevitable. I'm gonna just freaking go and just start moving." And, that just takes repetition, and the discipline portion of it is just like, don't think it, just do it and just make it happen. And even if that means that it's broken up into, like, the term I love, movement snacks, where you
That is
get,
such a
like,
good term.
even if it's like mobility work, or like
Mhm.
you get a couple of bridge sets in or something like that. Like maybe it's part of your workout, or maybe it's just something in addition to your actual lifting program. Um, that's just nice to at least get the blood flowing, make you feel like you're not stuck. I think that's important too. Just if you're in like a funk or anything like that,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah, no, that's I mean, and I've had to do that too. Is that ideal? I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's just annoying to have to split your workout, but I've had to do that where it's like I have this hour workout plan with these like 4 or 5 lifts, and I only have time for half of it in the morning, and then I gotta finish the rest of it, like, at home in my garage gym. I've had to do that. I don't like
Mhm.
to do that. It's not my
Right.
preference. I wouldn't consider that I'm not a fan of, like, two-a-days. So I'm not 'cause I'm not saying, like, do two-a-day workouts, like, that's not it's not a two-a-day if you're, like, splitting, like, your one workout.
Maybe when you're like 18 years old back in the
Right,
day.
but sometimes you have to do that as a parent because, again, of schedules, like, if I get stuck working on something and I can't make it to the gym in the time that I want, in time to be home for when my kids come home from school, then it's either don't go to the gym and try to get the whole thing in later, or do half now and do part of it later, or reshuffle it around, or do a short. It's something's gonna have to give. And my choice rarely is to not do it at all. Like I try not to let that happen. It definitely does. I'll have to shift things around throughout the week in a different way than I planned. Um, you have that's it teaches you how to pivot. I feel like when you become a parent, there's no room for I actually feel for people who are like type A because I'm not like we're not like that. I'm sure it's a big struggle when you're someone who likes a very structured schedule, and
Mhm.
that adjustment is probably much harder because you're no longer in control of that. Like there's so many variables. So that has to be
It's stressful.
incredibly frustrating
Mhm.
to let go of that because you can't always you can plan, and the plan is probably gonna get, like, over, like, 9 times out of 10 from something that, you just didn't have any control over, you know?
'Cause the
So
seasons of when your kid's growing too, especially when they're little, like, shift so fast, like, when you're ready to work out postpartum and you're shifting yourself with, like, the sleep patterns and, the feeding schedules and all of that, it changes on the daily sometimes, and you're just like, "Oh, I don't even know what day it is." Like, you're trying referencing a workout is the last thing on your mind. So, it just having to shift with that is obviously a life lesson that's important, but then having the discipline is challenging as well. And I feel like I've gone to the point though, and I am grateful for this, that because I've been so consistent over time, and this is where you're like, your workout plans have helped me so much. And this is why people like that accountability, is that I look forward to my workouts now. And it doesn't mean that I'm always in that headspace of like, can't wait to go to the gym. It's like, fuck, it's 5 a.m. I'm going. Like,
that's a misconception that most people don't get is, like, fit people love working out, and, like, well, yes, overall I do. Like that it's a part of my life, and when I can't do it, I miss it. But I am rarely motivated to go to the gym. Like
Right.
most of the time, I don't want to go. I don't want to be there. I don't want to start the next set. I don't want to be doing any of it. But I do, because after I'm done, I feel better than, like, if I hadn't done it at all, obviously. I like all of the effects of it, but, like, I don't want to go. It's just a responsibility. It's like, I don't want to make my bed or mop the floor or pay my bills. Like, I would love someone else to do that for me, but my life operates better when I do those things. So, it can't always be about you feeling like doing it. Most of the time you're not going to. So, that's again why it has to be you have to figure out how to make that a priority, because when it's really easy when your schedule is disrupted by something parenting related, if it's not a priority and you don't have the discipline there with that, you're not gonna feel like doing it most of the time. So it's gonna be really, really easy for you to make or come up with a reason for like why. Well, guess I can't do this today. Like I don't have the time, and this came up, and I don't feel like doing it, so I'm not doing it. It has to be on the priority list. It has to become a non-negotiable
The
thing.
non-negotiable. You have to lock into that too and be
Yeah,
like,
a
"This is
non-nego
the
unless
thing
there's, like,
thing."
clearly, there are gonna be times where there's valid reasons for you to not do it, and there are and it is okay. I'm not saying that there is never a like, you're never allowed to actually give in to that laziness where you're like, "I just don't feel like doing it. I
You
don't
have
feel
to
like
have
doing it
grace with
today.
yourself and balance
I'm
it.
just not I don't feel like doing it." Like, that happens to me often. I give in to that, but it's when that is the pattern of behavior that you choose more than you don't, then
Right.
that's a problem, and you're really not taking it as seriously as you think you are, or like, you wanted to.
It feels
Um
better in those moments though, because you are in eventually and again, you're say 80-20 rule kind of thing or whatever it is to put it for fitness, like it'll have its ups and downs. It's not going to be linear throughout the year, sickness, vacation, blah, blah, blah. But when majority of the time, the majority of the weeks you are able to fit in those workouts because you put it as a priority. When you aren't able to because life be lifing, like it feels that much better to say, okay, you know what? I just got to take a day off, like, or I'm not gonna be able to fit in my workouts this week. But it feels like it just feels better. It's almost like when you are on a more strict nutrition plan, and you don't even have to be strict about it. It's just that overall you tend to eat on the healthier side or more balanced side. But
Mhm.
when you do have those moments that come up when you're out and you want to have whatever the hell you want to have, it feels better. You're in the driver's seat most of the time, and sometimes it's nice to just chill in the passenger seat and be like, you know what, I'm gonna enjoy my life and not really think about this, and not give myself guilt and let just move on to the next thing. And that's a really great place to arrive in. Not always there, but when you are there, it feels good because then you get back on track without really wasting
Yeah,
time feeling guilty about it.
100%. Well, yeah, I mean, that is definitely something that has worked in our favor for both of us is that we were already people who cared about having some semblance of it. Like now, my fitness routine now looks very different than what it did before kids. Because back then, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. For one, um, I didn't know anything about the like how to train in the ways that I do now.
Mhm.
But I still cared about like having some sort of fitness routine and doing, staying active before kids. So we already had that established.
The end of the day, the reason why fitness should be a priority, it's not because of like, I want to put myself first and like be the strong hot mom, rave MILF. Like that's great and all, but
Right.
I mean,
Nothing wrong with that goal.
that's like right here.
Right. That's not gonna be enough to carry you through when your kid is like, has hand, foot, and mouth and you had a plan.
Well, it's
Like,
yes.
you don't give a shit about being a hot mom when your kids are sick. Like, you have to have a bigger reason for doing it,
It's just
for sure.
overall health. Like at the end of the day, the
There
the
has to be
advice your
more. There
doctor
has to be more depth.
just a little, but like the advice you're gonna get from any provider, if you are having symptoms, mental, physical, it's going to be, are you exercising frequently enough? That is going to come
Mhm,
up hands down. If you're
mhm,
somebody that it's just part of being a human being. If you are somebody that doesn't get enough protein intake, you might start to have symptoms physically because of that, right? Or something like that. So it's like the reason why it's such a good thing to place as a priority is because it is an inevitable factor of your health that you will have to address at some point. You might not be able to handle walking miles on miles if you go on travel for a week
Mhm,
because
mhm.
you aren't putting the work in before the trip. So it just applies at so many angles that you should make it a priority, even if that doesn't mean it looks exactly like an ideal fitness plan of working out 3 to 5 times a week. Maybe it starts less than that and you're just walking,
Mhm,
whatever that
mhm.
means for you. It's just that the fitness factor is going to come around. And so that's why we're talking about it. We love it
Yeah,
because our
100%,
dogs.
and, like, what I was trying to say, I guess, was, like, me and you kind of had a leg up because we always cared about a fitness routine before we became mothers.
Hmm.
So, it was not like we were introducing this new thing or goal or, like, pattern of behavior into our lives after becoming parents. Which a lot of people do. It's like they never cared about it until after they were already parents, and now it's like, "Okay, how do I add this completely new thing into my life?" Like, that's a whole different beast.
Hmm.
It can totally be done, but, like, you're having to train yourself to prioritize something that you never had before on top of all of these other things you have going on, as opposed
A
to
lot.
people who already had a routine, then they become mothers that, they already have, like they already know that that's a priority in their life, and now it's just a matter of, like, how do I have to adjust this to fit it into this new schedule and these new responsibilities, which that's a different kind of hard because now it's like you have a memory like a they're I feel like they're separate but equal hards because if you're a parent who's never had a fitness routine before and now you're trying to introduce this new stuff into your life, it's overwhelming and you like don't even know where to start. And it's hard to like make that a priority. And I think that there potentially could be more guilt initially with that because it's something that you've never done for yourself before that you're adding in. And so maybe those people tend to feel guiltier about it than the people who already have established why this is important to them.
It's already a
But on the
non-negotiable.
flip side, those people that have already established and are used to having only themselves to worry about and their fitness goals, it's it's very like a like it's ground it's like it shakes your whole world up when you introduce children into this thing and you already have prioritized fitness and now all of your routines are out the window. And so you have a recollection and a memory of like how this used to go for you and probably never will again.
Well, that's very true,
So
especially.
now you have to like kind of rebuild it, but at least for that, the pro of that is you already know it's going to happen. You're going to figure it out. It's just not going to look like it did before. So there's pros and cons to like both
Like when you start.
situations. Like when you start, so in that aspect, like for me, and I'm curious, actually want you to talk about it before I do because this is like a more recent change in your life than it is for me. Like I've been doing this for a long time. Like my oldest is 15.
Right.
So that adjustment period, I've been doing this malleable fitness thing for a long time. You have a 2-year-old. So like it's more fresh in your brain for like how you had to come to what you were used to doing on your own and
Hmm.
what it looks like for you now and how you are able to accomplish things, being a new mom and then now being a pregnant mom with a toddler. Like how, mentally, how did that feel for you? And what did the change look like? Like I'd be more curious. I can go over mine, but like I want to hear yours first because
Okay.
it's fresh.
Yeah, definitely, I'm already talking to myself about, okay, you're 36 weeks pregnant. When you have this baby, remember, like, you won't be able to have the same emotional and physical release that you get from exercise, which is something I rely on for
Yeah.
feeling the best that I can most of the time, is getting activity in. Even if it's like an off day and I'm not lifting, I'm going on some walks with my son, I'm keeping up with him, I'm trying to like keep busy, stretch, move somehow. But when you're postpartum, you don't know or approaching it, you don't know how A, the birth is going to go, how you're going to feel, what's going to happen, B, what type of sleep you're going to be getting. And so it's always new. And I think for me right now, I'm just preparing myself mentally to remember I won't be able to exercise the way that I usually do, and that's okay, but I need to be able to handle that mental load in a different way. So, thinking like, okay, how am I going to handle that? I can reach out to people if I need to talk it out, but also just being okay with that state, of time where I'm going to be moving less. It's okay. Don't give myself guilt. All is well. I'm still a strong person. I will recover from this in a different and better way. That type of mindset is what I'm aiming for, is to just try to be in the moment. This is a special time. It's going to go by fast, so don't rush it. And so, that approach worked the first time. Had a C-section and I was off for like 6 to 8 weeks, and that was crazy because I was lifting like 4 times a week almost up until the end. So, it was definitely a hard adjustment, but, I think that overall it's worth it, and you're so busy with your newborn anyway that and now it's gonna be a newborn and a toddler, um, that everything evens out in the long run, but I don't wanna waste time being worried about that because I know I'm gonna get back to it, you know?
What was, like, the thing that you struggled with the most, like, once you became a mom, like, as it applies to, like, your fitness routine? Like, was there anything specific that, like, you had the hardest time, like, not coming to terms with, but, like, figuring out, like, what was hard for you to, like, push past?
With my first is that I had to and I thought about this before I had him, when
Mhm.
I was like, "Okay, you're not gonna be able to work out for a while, and you're very used to it, so this is gonna be like a switch up for how you deal with your stress." And so, you're so focused on your child that it takes up that space anyway for the most part, but the guilt of leaving him eventually when it was time for me to return to the gym was the hardest part for me. 'Cause I
Mhm.
just was with him all the time, and I felt like, something horrible could happen or just straight up guilt about not being with him, and allowing him to stay with my mom or somebody else. So that was the hardest part for me, and it just took repetitions, continuing to do it, honestly, in order for it to improve, like I feel like that exposure therapy in a way, where there's no other way to handle it better than to just make it happen.
Mhm.
So, the workouts weren't anything crazy, like, I wasn't staying for, like, an hour and a half or anything at the gym, but, like, even 45 minutes was, like, I'd be on edge, at towards the end of, like, "Okay, I need to, like, get out of here." And I
Mhm.
had to coach myself through that because it's like, I didn't wanna feel that way when this was my time to myself, and I knew that my mom had it handled, but it still was hard to work through that. I still have trouble with that sometimes going out and away from my son now. So I think it's just a work in progress. It's not always going to be perfect, but you definitely do get used to it. You get better at it. And so that was definitely hard at first. And then I'd say other than that, like, the movement snack thing that I talked about was really important also for just, like, the healing aspect, from my C-section, and, so that was helpful for me, like, getting a little bit of movement in at home for healing, but also to make me feel like I was, you know, awake and getting a little stronger. So, like, if I was sitting a lot breastfeeding and all that stuff, like, I would do something to counteract it.
With the mom guilt thing and, like, feeling like you have to rush through your workout or, like, kinda being on edge to, like, get back to them, I don't know if that ever really goes away.
That's what I'm
Like,
saying.
that's not really a comforting thing. It's sort of like not completely the same, but the same idea as, like, what we talked about, like, when you go to a rave or a festival, and it's really hard to, like, not think about your kids or worry about them or, like, fully enjoy the moment, but you have to teach yourself how to compartmentalize to where it's like, "Okay, the children are in a box in your brain, and you're aware of the box." Like, the box never goes away. You can't ever completely forget about it, but you just don't open it. Like, you just acknowledge that it's there, and then you just kinda, like, go and have your time, but that's, like, a skill that takes practice. You're just not gonna have that ability to do that right away. So it's
Definitely.
similar to that, and, like, once you're a parent and you go off and do this, like, fun thing, that box is always there. You never even it's never gone. You're always aware that you have children that are not there, that you're kind of, like, in the background worried about and concerned
Mhm.
about, but you learn how to, like, not, like, be thinking about that and distracted by it, and you can have your good time. So, like, with the gym, I don't like, I think you can definitely push past the guilt. Like, that guilt is one of those things where, like, with practice, you get over it and you realize, like, how much better you are when you do it versus, like, when you don't. So the guilt is, like, becomes not an issue because you're like, "No, I actually need this. I don't feel bad about it anymore."
Right.
It's just that's like a thing, like a repetitive thing with time that you can definitely get through. But the anxiety
That's what I
of,
was
like,
gonna say.
wanting to rush through the workout or feeling like you need to get back to them, it can get better. It definitely gets better as they become older and more independent. Um, you're not worried about so much, but it's still a responsibility you have, and if there's, like if you're at the gym and there's all these things going on, or if you feel like you haven't even with my kids, like, they're so independent, they're doing their own thing, like, they don't need me as much in the house anymore, and so, sometimes I feel like even though we're all here, like, I'm up in my office, they're playing video games or doing like, I don't really see them or interact with them as much as I want to, and then sometimes I'm not able to go to the gym until the evening, and I feel bad about that, and I feel like I need to rush through it because 'cause I'm like, you could have figured out you should have figured out how to do this during the day so that it wasn't taking time away from them because 'cause they're all at school now.
True.
But sometimes I have to choose and prioritize, "Yeah, but then I could work on this thing uninterrupted that I'm working on right now, and I could go to the gym later." Or sometimes Allie wants to come with me, so that's a whole other thing is, like, we'll talk about that later, but this is a thing she's always seen me do, so now she wants to come with me.
Mhm.
So, there's all these different factors that come into play and with, like, the rushing through it. If I go in the evening, if that's the only time I can go because it's a priority to me, so I'm still gonna go, those evening workouts during, like, a school week, I do get a little bit anxious, even though they're fine. They're fine, and I think they could care less at this point because 'cause they're older. I still feel I kinda miss them because 'cause I'm like, "I barely saw them all day." Like, I don't wanna be in the gym for very long, so I'll rush through my workout to get back to them when it's not really necessary. I
You
don't think
still
it
wanna be
necessarily.
present,
You
though.
wanna
I
be it's like, "I barely saw you guys all day, and I know you don't need me here, but I feel bad being gone too long." So it does make me anxious to, like, rush through it. So, like, I don't think that ever goes away. I think the reason for you feeling like you need to rush through it changes. Because like, when you have a toddler, you feel like, "No, he needs something from me." Like, he's probably freaking out or whatever, even if they're fine. So, like, the reason for why you feel that, like, tug on, like, needing to rush through it or, like, kind of anxious when you're gone to, you know, do your workout, that reason is different than, like, my reason of, like, "Oh, I just wanna see them." Like, I could have planned this better, and now I've worked through the mom guilt. That's the stuff that will give me mom guilt back is, like, "Dude, you should have planned your day better to where, like, this wouldn't" like, you're still gonna do it because it's a priority, but and thankfully, we have husbands who definitely are like, "No, go, you need to go." Like, Kenny's the first one when I'm like, "I'm just not gonna do it. I'm tired, it's not gonna be a great workout, I don't wanna leave the kids." He's the first one to be like, "Go. You're
that's what
making
Greg does
excuses.
for me.
Just
He's like,
go.
"Go
Get
to the
out of here and
gym."
go." He helps me, he helps check me, he's like, "It doesn't have to be a long workout." He doesn't care if it is, but he's like, "It doesn't have to be a long workout, but you're gonna go."
Yes.
Um, so having a supportive, like, spouse definitely is crucial and a game changer because some that I would let the mom guilt win sometimes if I didn't have him.
'Cause they see you on the other side of it, and they're like, "Damn, she's much happier and
Yeah.
not like
Yeah.
that."
Well, yeah, because he's gonna he knows that if I don't go, I'm gonna be cranky. Like, so
Right.
it's sorta like it's like, yeah, you could stay here and see them, but you're gonna be pissy that you didn't get your workout in, so just go. Just go for an hour and, like, come back. That is the thing is once this becomes, like, a routine that you push through the mom guilt for, that you prioritize, everybody starts to realize that, "No, she needs this." Like, we
Mhm.
actually like her better when she works out because when she doesn't work out, she starts going crazy.
Yo, exactly, and that's why I will say for me right now, my routine has shifted to I used to do 5 AM workouts when I was working in LA area, and I had a really long day, and I would just be part of that 5 AM crew. I just was really living really close to the gym, and I just get there in the beginning, get it done, and I know that's not for everybody, but right now it's actually really helping me because I live, like, 5 minutes from the gym. Obviously, not everybody does, but whatever the circumstances, that early morning shift is really important because my husband's here with my son. And so I can avoid that part of skipping out on family time because it is in my power to do it. So I just push myself, and it's been my saving grace. Like, am I tired? Yes. Sometimes I have to nap with my son. Thankfully, I'm able to do that because I'm home. I wouldn't necessarily be able to do that if I was working
Mhm.
every day. But I push myself. I just have that set 5 a.m. alarm every day, and then I turn it on when I know I'm going to try to work out the next morning. And it's
Mhm.
been great because then I don't feel like I have to rush as much. Like I have a time I have to get back, but he's not with me.
Yeah.
And I know he's sleeping. So for me right now, that's where I'm at. And I foresee in the future that like once the second baby comes, it's gonna
You're
shift
gonna have to
away from
shift it
that.
again. It's gonna change. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm gonna have to find some weird pocket of window, but I'm grateful because this
Mhm.
gym is 24/7 access. So
Mhm.
thankfully, I could go at some weird bizarre hour at some point. I don't want to have to do that, but the idea is that the convenience is there. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely hard to shift your mindset to working out at a different time that's like really early
Mhm.
or really late.
Mhm.
But it's beneficial because I do get it in. It's a lot easier to get it in at this time frame that
Right.
no one's waking up
But that's the
no one's
point, it's
awake
like,
except for me.
that's not preferable, and before you had a child and had all the time in not all the time in the world, had more definitely had more free time to play around with, that's not a time you would have chosen. Like, that's not that
No,
like
but I did have to choose that at one point, like I was saying,
right.
just in a different way. Like I wasn't a mom yet, but my commute was so freaking long in LA,
Mhm.
which is why we did not stay there. That I was like, dude, I'm having to drive an hour to an hour and a half each way sometimes. Like the only way
Mhm.
I'm gonna get my workout in is if I wake up at the crack ass of dawn, and it sucked, but I still got it done. So it's a
Mhm.
similar mindset. So I was grateful I had that mindset before.
Mhm.
You don't always have to have it before. You can join the fitness community
Yeah.
after all of this, like you were saying earlier. It's never too late to join. And same thing with pregnancy, actually. If you have someone leading you, you can integrate new movement as long as it's safe for you and the baby later in pregnancy. Like you don't have to have started everything way
Right.
beforehand. Um,
Right.
but yeah, it's definitely not preferable because I'm tired. So yes,
Yeah.
I agree
Yeah.
with that.
So that's it teaches you so many things because it's like I said, there's pros and cons to both. So what it teaches you though, I feel like for both sides, um, both parenting and fitness and like doing these things together is, again, being able to pivot the plan and understanding that everything has seasons. And it's really important with fitness goals or even parenting goals. Both of these things are like so connected in like weird ways that you don't think about until you like start talking about it out loud.
I know.
Like, it's sort of like when you have multiple children and like you feel like you got it down with one and then you have the next one and that kid is completely different and the way that you parented the first one and the things that worked for that one don't work for this one because they still have different personalities. So you can kind of use your knowledge, but you can't you still are learning things constantly. And then even with once you have all your children, like you'll get into a rhythm and then something changes and then you have to kind of relearn and redo the whole thing again. So like fitness is the same way. Like whether you no matter at what point in your life you started it or what you were able to allot time to at that point in your life, it's always the best option is never to compare yourself, whether that's physically or your life in general to other people because you don't know what they have going on. Like, don't compare your body to somebody else's because you don't know how long they've been training, how much time they have, what supplements they aren't on. Like you don't know. So that's never going to help you. You should be comparing yourself to yourself. However, the catch with that is you have to learn how to do that. You can't get too crazy with that either, because if I compared myself to, like, the way that fitness looks for me right now to when I had 3 kids, but I had 1 that was a baby that I could take with me everywhere, and I wasn't running a business. That looks vastly different. Like, I was crushing it, like, easily 10,000 steps a day. I would wake up in the morning and run, wait a few hours, go to the gym and lift for an hour. I was making meals from scratch. Like, I was doing all of these things that, like, I don't have time for that now. And you'd think I would have more time because my kids are more self-sufficient, but now I'm running them around everywhere. I'm
Sure.
running a business. Like it's I'm sitting at a desk, so my step count sucks. So like if I were to compare myself to myself, I could be like, I suck. Like so it's you have to compare yourself, but you also have to consider that at different points of your life, like there's different seasons for everything. your kids go through different seasons of parenthood. Like, it's always you think you got it down and something changes and you gotta, like you really don't know. You're never gonna be a pro at it. You're always learning, like, having to pivot your role as a parent. You think you got it figured out and something shakes it up, and you have to kind of relearn or readjust as a parent. It's the same thing with fitness. Like, you think you have it figured out, and you might for a while, and that thing works, and then something in your life changes, whether that's a job or stresses, death in the family, illness, injury, something changes, and you have to refigure it out. And
You can't handle that
yes,
same lift, the
you
same
can
weight, for
yeah.
example.
Or maybe you can, but it has to look totally different, and that's fine. It doesn't mean it's better or worse. It just means you have to make those adjustments for whatever is going on in your life at that point in time. So, yes, compare you to you. That's the only thing you should be doing, not comparing you to other people, but be realistic and fair to yourself with that. And to not go too far on a tangent with that, like, that is how I feel like when you have both of the fitness and the parenting worlds living together and, like, building off of each other, those both teach those teach both of those lessons. So,
Mhm.
you're going to like, it's a struggle and it's difficult, and you will have the guilt, and you will have to really practice time management and learn how to be disciplined and prioritize stuff, learn how to pivot the plan, but it teaches you to, like, kind of, like, learn to accept the season you're in and how to make that work for you and your goals and, parenting goals, fitness goals. You can but don't look back on, like, "Man, I was really killing it back then. I wish I could go back to that," because you can't. Like,
Right.
your life back then, your children back then, like,
Is gone.
you now are not the same you with the same stresses and the same things going on as you were, like, 5, 10 years ago. So, yeah, you would hope to improve, but that improvement is not like you said, it's not linear. That improvement might the things that are improved might look different than like, the classic way of improving, like, if I was gonna look at it like the only way for me to improve on how I was when I was a stay-at-home mom and had more time to work out and make meals from scratch and get over 10,000 steps a day because I was walking everywhere, then no, I have not improved. I'm failing if I'm looking at it like that, but that's not a fair like, that looking at that assessment isn't correct because I have other things that I'm managing now to where I'm still able to prioritize these things, but now my priorities with fitness and, like, what a good level of fitness, a manageable level looks like for me as a
Mhm.
mom with my kids in the ages they are now and the things that I have going on now. So, that mentality, I feel like you can comprehend it when you're a parent who is also doing this stuff. Not that you can't when you're not, but, like, you have a different appreciation for that understanding
Mhm.
and how to pivot and how to not compare yourself to whatever was going on back then because it's constantly changing, and you're very aware of that when you're raising children, the things that are constantly changing, how you're having to adjust as a mother or as a parent, dads too. As a parent, you're always having to adjust the way that you're parenting for how they're growing. Your fitness routine is the same way. Your fitness routine is the same way if you don't have kids. You're always going to have to be adjusting it based on your job, your schedule, your stresses, your goals, your age. All those things play a factor. So that still applies when you become a parent. It's so you like it shouldn't be we shouldn't be so hard on ourselves or it shouldn't be this jarring thing that what success in parenting or fitness looks like now could be very different than what that measure is in 5 or 10 years. Like that's fine. That's
Yeah,
fine. It's always going to be this fluid thing. It's not
definitely.
rigid.
And sometimes, like, it's just a matter of the fact that you showed up and made it there. Like, I that happens a lot. Like, obviously, if I was like I think if I was more organized, then I'd be able to be like, "Okay, what are my fitness goals? Like, what are my, I want to reach this specific weight, blah, blah." Nope, not right now. For me, is that I showed up at the gym. I made it there.
Mhm. I got
I'm
some
going
movement
to,
in. I did my main lifts,
I
mhm.
completed my workout and like, okay, I could, level up by a rep or two for each set and I added a little weight. Okay, great. or I maintain because now I'm in the end of pregnancy and I'm pretty much maintaining most of my
Yeah.
lifts and progressing a couple of them. But
Yeah.
like the fact I'm just not thinking about it in that detail because I'm tired and I'm trying to keep up with my toddler and everything else. Could I do that? Yes, but right now it's really not my priority to
Mhm.
have those specific goals. It's more that I'm just staying active and I'm staying with my routine. But that will change, especially once I'm postpartum. I'll be able to at least, I think, get myself I have like a plan for my progression, but it's interesting how like that's cool for me right now. I'm happy to just show up, get the work done, and that's it. I don't have a goal attached in terms of like strength and weight necessarily. It's just that I'm somewhat improving, maintaining good form, I'm healthy, and I'm trying to prevent injury over time just because it's becoming like that late in pregnancy. So that's kind of my mindset with it. And it's the same for people that even if they're not parents, where like they're stressed out from work and stressed out from life circumstances. Just the fact that they showed up for themselves, they
Yeah.
made it is a fucking accomplishment. And then they made it through the workout. They can leave and be like, good job, self. I did it. Like,
Yeah.
whatever, life is
And
going to keep life.
it's not about lowering your expectations and not challenging yourself. Like,
Right.
it just what that level of challenge is and those expectations is they have to be realistic for, like, wherever you are in your life. Like, meet yourself where you're at and
Mhm.
what you can actually handle at that point in your life, and that can always be adjusted. So it's not about, like, not challenging like, lowering your expectations to the point where, like, you just don't even have to try very hard, like, because 'cause you're not gonna get real growth or progress or change in anything if it's not a little bit difficult, but it can't be so
Right.
difficult that there's no way you can manage it and you constantly feel like you're failing at whatever that thing is. So, meet yourself where you're at. It's not about lowering your expectations in the non-challenging sense, it's just, like, be realistic in the goals that you're setting and how you're accomplishing that, because if I had like, the way that my fitness journey has transpired over the course of motherhood, it's very different. You have to meet yourself where you're at and be realistic about what that looks like, and it can all change. It will always change.
Well, I think that's a bit of a wrap now. Covered a lot there.
Till next time, see you later.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.